This recording is from the ACA World Convention that was held virtually in April of 2020. The WSO is grateful to all of those that provided service and that attended. ACA is an anonymous program. Please respect the anonymity of those that participated in the event. You can visit us online at adultchildren.org, where we have pages dedicated to newcomers and a free literature downloads page. Our service websites, acawso.org and acawsoec.org, have information about being of service, and literature and medallions are available for purchase, and the Seventh Tradition contributions can be made at shop.adultchildren.org. Please enjoy the following recording from the 2020 ABC, Global Connections Strengthen Our Recovery.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and a warm welcome to Global ACA Community for the 5th Annual ACA World Convention, our first fully virtual convention. While this is a difficult time for us all, we see moments like this that bring us together, and for that we are grateful for our ACA recovery. This is meeting 9 of the 13 meetings being held over 26 hours for this ACA World Convention themed Global Connections Strengthen Our Recovery. My name is Sue V., Adult Child, Chair of Global Members from Toronto, Canada, and this meeting is being tech hosted by Stephen, Adult Child, from San Francisco, and Sharon, I'm not sure what city Sharon is, from the US. Anonymity. Please remember our spiritual principle of anonymity, as this camp is being broadcasted around the world and will also be recorded and distributed later. We therefore ask that you do not record any audio, video, or pictures of the AWC. We also ask that you do not share this link to this conference. Each member can request their own access to the AWC. This is so they can acknowledge our commitment to protect the personal anonymity of AWC attendees. During this meeting, only the active speakers will be unmuted. Some meetings may ask for sharing or for volunteers. Please use the raised hand feature in the participants' screen at that time to request to speak. You will be unmuted when it is your turn to speak. And also know that video, cameras, microphones, and chats are disabled for all viewers. This is to ensure a safe listening experience. Please also rename yourself in the participant screen to show only your first name and an initial. Next. Please join me in opening our meeting with the ACA Serenity Prayer in whatever language or way is best for you. Taking a deep breath. ACA Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the people I cannot change, the courage to change the one I can, and the wisdom to know that one is me. We meet to share the experience we had as children growing up in an alcoholic or dysfunctional home. That experience infected us then, and it affects us today. By practicing the 12 steps, by focusing on the solution, and by accepting a higher power of our own understanding, we find freedom from the effects of alcoholism and other family dysfunction. We identify with the problem and learn to live in the solution, one day at a time. I have asked Satish to read the laundry list. Satish? Can you unmute, Satish?
Now it is. Thank you, everyone. My name is Satish, grateful adult child. The laundry list. 1, we became isolated and afraid of people and authority figures. 2, we became approval seekers and lost our identity in the process. 3, we are frightened by angry people and any personal criticism. 4, we either became alcoholics, married them, or both, or find another compulsive personality, such as a workaholic, to fulfill our sick abandonment needs. 5, we live life from the viewpoint of victims, and we are attracted by that weakness in our love and friendship relationships. 6, we have an overdeveloped sense of responsibility, and it is easier for us to be concerned with others rather than ourselves. This enables us not to look too closely at our own faults, etc. 7, we get guilt feelings when we stand up for ourselves instead of giving in to others. 8, We became addicted to excitement. 9. We confuse love and pity and tend to love people we can pity and rescue. 10. We have stuffed our feelings from our traumatic childhoods and have lost the ability to feel or express our feelings because it hurts so much. Denial. 11. We judge ourselves harshly and have a very low sense of self-esteem. 12. We are dependent personalities who are terrified of abandonment and will do anything to hold on to a relationship in order not to experience painful abandonment feelings, which we received from living with sick people who were never there emotionally for us. 13. Alcoholism is a family disease, and we became para-alcoholics and took on the characteristics of that disease, even though we did not pick up the drink. 14. Para-alcoholics are reactors rather than actors. Thank you. I'll pass it.
Thank you, Satish. I've asked Sunil to read the solution. Sunil? Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from India. I am an adult child. My name is Sunil. The solution is to become your own loving parent. As ACA becomes a safe place for you, you will find freedom to express all the hurts and fears you have kept inside and to free yourself from the shame and blame that are carryovers from the past. You will become an adult who is imprisoned no longer by childhood reactions. You will recover the child within you, learning to accept and love yourself. The healing begins when we risk moving out of isolation. Feelings and buried memories will return. By gradually releasing the burden of unexpressed grief, we slowly move out of the past. We learn to reparent ourselves with gentleness, humor, love, and respect. This process allows us to see our biological parents as the instruments of our existence. Our actual parent is a higher power whom some of us choose to call God. Although we had alcoholic or dysfunctional parents, our higher power gave us the 12 steps of recovery. This is the action and work that heals us. We use the steps, we use the meetings, we use the telephone. We share our experience, strength, and hope with each other. We learn to restructure our sick thinking one day at a time. We release our parents from responsibility for our actions today. We become free to make healthful decisions as actors, not reactors. We progress from hurting to healing to helping. We awaken to a sense of wholeness we never knew was possible. By attending these meetings on a regular basis, you will come to see parental alcoholism or family dysfunction for what it is. A disease that infected you as a child and continues to affect you as an adult. You will learn to keep the focus on yourself in the here and now. You will take responsibility for your own life and supply your own parenting. You will not do this alone. Look around you and you will see others who know how you feel. We will love and encourage you. We will love and encourage you no matter what. We ask you to accept us just as we accept you. This is a spiritual program based on action coming from love. We are sure that as the love grows inside you, you will see beautiful changes in all our relationships, in all your relationships, especially with God, yourself, and your parents. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunil. I've asked Sean to read the ACA 12 steps. Sean?
All right, I'm Sean. I'm an adult child of an alcoholic. And these are the ACA 12 steps. 1, we admitted we were powerless over the effects of alcoholism or other family dysfunction, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understand God. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, humbly ask God to remove our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understand God, praying only for knowledge of God's will for us and the power to carry it out. 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to others who still suffer and to practice these principles in all our affairs.
Thank you. Thank you, John. We're going to ask Sarah to read the ACA 12 Traditions. Sarah?
Hi, everybody. I'm Sarah O., adult child. The 12 traditions. Our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends on ACA unity. For our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving higher power as expressed in our group conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants. They do not govern. 3, the only requirement for membership in ACA is a desire to recover from the effects of growing up in an alcoholic or otherwise dysfunctional family. 4, each group is autonomous except in matters affecting other groups or ACA as a whole. We cooperate with all other 12-step programs. 5, each group has but one primary purpose, to carry its message to the adult child who still suffers. 6, an ACA group ought never endorse, finance, or lend the ACA name to any related facility or outside enterprise, lest problems of money, property, and prestige divert us from our primary purpose. 7, every ACA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. 8, adult children of alcoholics should remain forever non-professional, but our service centers may employ special workers. 9, ACA as such ought never be organized, but we may create service boards or committees directly responsible to those they serve. 10, adult children of alcoholics has no opinion on outside issues. Hence, the ACA name ought never be drawn into public controversy. 11, our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, TV, films, and social media. 12, anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all of our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. You may have related to our readings even if there was no apparent alcoholism or addiction in your home. This is common because dysfunction can occur in a family without the presence of addiction. We welcome you. What you hear at this meeting should remain at the meeting. We do not talk about another person's story or experiences to other people. Please respect the anonymity of those who share with us today. ACA meetings have one primary purpose: to carry the message to adult children who still suffer. This group believes that allowing predatory behavior to occur in and around meetings creates a distraction from this purpose. Please see the adultchildren.org free literature page for the ACA commitment to addressing predatory behavior tent card. The website has been added to the chat box. Next. I'm going to say some opening remarks about myself and global members. Some of you have heard this from the 10 a.m. Eastern time. Some of you have not, because we're in a totally different time slot. And what I wanted to do is make it universally accessible to everyone. So I will add a couple of new remarks for people who have heard me. So hi, I'm Sue V, grateful adult child from Toronto, Canada, and chair of the Global Members Subcommittee. We are pleased to be sponsoring the first of three sponsoring the second of three workshops at the 2020 AWC. I grew up in a very alcoholic and dysfunctional family. I'm the eldest of 8 children, and my father came from a violent childhood and also suffered from PTSD from his time in the armed forces. It was and is a very painful part of my life. I attended Alateen and had lots of counseling during that time. I would add something new here, and the new thing is that my childhood was really, really bad, like a lot of ours. But when I was about 18 or 19, my parents threw me out of the house because I was trying to protect my siblings, my sisters and brothers. And that was grief-stricken for me. And yet at the same time, the higher power held me because that was the best thing that ever happened in my life. And so although I grieved that I had to leave my siblings, I could no longer keep rescuing them, and Children's Aid came in shortly after. And I then put myself through school and through university. I made a vow to become financially independent to the extreme and became a workaholic. So I'm very much an adult child. However, I would have to tell you that even with Alateen and counseling and personal development and spiritual development, there was still something missing in my life. I felt I had a disability that I needed to live with, the wounds of my childhood. As the laundry list states, I also married another wounded soul, and now I had a second violent home with 2 children. The shame in that was staggering. I came to ACA with so much shame and grief 10 years ago. It was the perfect storm for me, with menopause, teenagers experimenting with drugs and alcohol, the death of my husband, my workaholism. I was losing my sanity. ACA has changed all of that, and I am deeply grateful. I have found and kept my sanity by working the ACA program, and I would say quickly that for me, the meetings, there's the power of healing in the meetings. The step studies, count them 9. I'm at 9 right now with supporting and participating, which was wonderful, and healing, and I continue to learn more about myself in those laundry list studies and reparenting work. I have been giving back with my healing and step 12 to myself and others through service, through my meeting group locally, through intergroup, and now with World Service. Next. Our Global Members Subcommittee started in 2019, and we have focused on emerging countries, requesting support outside of Europe and North America. This past year, we've been working with 7 to 8 countries over 2 continents, Asia and Africa, and we have only just begun. I am honored to be their chair. I live in one of the most culturally diverse cities in the world, Toronto, Canada. We have over 200 languages spoken, 2 official languages, French and English. It truly is a global village. Global is in my heart and in my blood. I moved to service with World Service as the co-chair of the 2018 AWC, where I dreamt of one united global ACA community. I had a vision at that time of an AWC that was universally accessible. I heard from fellow ACA members in Egypt, Africa, and Spain seeking to find a way to virtually attend the 2018 AWC, something that wasn't possible 2 years ago. Fast forward to 2020, our Global Members Subcommittee was planning a global face-to-face workshop with the hopes of virtually streaming our members into the workshop in Florida so everyone could participate. And that was the small thing that I could do in that moment, was one workshop, try and stream the members who couldn't physically be there so they could be part of this. The pandemic sped up that timeline and expanded it to we're sponsoring 3 workshops. And we've expanded the dream now for the whole world, something positive in the world right now when we need it the most. I have been humbled and honored to work with so many gifted ACA fellow travelers around the world, sharing experience, strength, and hope in recovery and in growing and supporting our ACA global family. Together, we are creating a strong and innovative service team looking at transforming challenges to the various countries and building a solid foundation of support for our meeting groups. This particular time zone, 2 a.m., is this part of the world. We're looking for ways to make it more accessible for you. So keep talking to us and keep working with us. We look forward, and I gotta say, really appreciate Sean staying up so late to talk to us. And even now it's reversed. He's in his afternoon. We look forward to working with all of our global family in the years ahead. W and WSO is for we, the ACA world. Together we are stronger. It is my honor and pleasure to introduce our second Global AWC workshop. Next. And we have Global ACA Without Borders. In this workshop, you're going to hear from 4 countries on how ACA crosses over all cultural, country, borders, 12-step borders. I was talking to another global member recently, how it actually crosses over professional and educational borders. We're going to learn more about how members found ACA when there were no ACA meetings and how we can support each other between countries. We are joined by Sunil in New Delhi, in India. We have Satish in BC, Canada, who used to live in India. We had Anju. I'm not sure if she's arrived or not. I'll leave that up with Stephen to sort out. And we'll also be hearing a bit from Sarah and Joe. But more importantly, or just as importantly, Sean in Taiwan is going to share his ACA journey and finding ACA and helping to support the first couple of English-speaking meetings, ACA meetings in Taiwan. So we're going to go back to the other slide, Stephen, and I'm going to lead Sunil. Sunil, take it away, and then we'll go next to Satish. And are you unmuted, Sunil?
I am unmuted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste from India. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all the participants. I'm very grateful to have this opportunity. Thank you for welcoming me. You know, I was born in 1953, and most of the time at home I saw violence, abuse, fights between my parents, neglect of my sibling and me. And in 1967, after trying to commit suicide, my mother, who was also addicted to multiple things, including rageaholic, you know, she was also a rageaholic, apart from some drugs. She tried to commit suicide, and 3 days later, she left home without even saying goodbye to anyone. Sorry about that. And I didn't see her for 10 years. My father was living in another country, and we were dumped with an uncle and sort of made to fend for ourselves, more or less. In 1974, I got the opportunity to leave India because, you know, living in India was becoming really horrible. Relatives can be the cruelest people when you're in trouble. And we had uncles and aunts and cousins making fun of us. making us feel small, not understanding our pain. Anyway, you know, I was very fortunate that I could go to Europe and switch off from India, because India for me was lost childhood and a horror story. You know, I tried very hard to connect with the locals, but it was difficult. My language skills were not great. And I was completely living in isolation. You know, the very famous phrase of ACA was in full bloom in me: don't talk, don't trust, don't feel. And all I was doing was living on a day-to-day basis and just trying to fend for myself. Because in the meantime, as soon as I arrived in Europe, my father also told me that you have to now fend for yourself financially. And you know, my education, everything had gone for a sixer. But I managed. I did odd jobs, etc. Eventually, I succumbed to the fourth trait of the laundry list. I did become an alcoholic. And over the years, I managed to damage and suffer tremendously, also made others suffer. I came into recovery in 2004, thanks to AA. And in 2011, I came into ACA, which changed my life. Because in AA, I was still very depressed. I couldn't find all the answers. I couldn't get the healing of my inner child, which I found here. And you know, just a year ago, I came to New York. I was welcomed by members which were, you know, welcoming me. Thanks to the global subcommittee who organized for me to be received in meeting groups. And, you know, I started moving out of isolation. And my whole world has changed in the last 1 year remarkably. It's just so beautiful because the pain is going. It's, you know, almost gone. And I have a new life and a new world to look forward to. I am very quickly going to just add that last year, a newcomer came into our group in India, in Delhi. We have 3 groups in India, and left after 2 weeks. 2 years ago, 2 girls came, young adults. They did not stay. And, you know, they had shared their stories, but we were not able to give them the confidence to connect with us so that they could feel safe, move out of isolation, and, you know, start trusting us and stay. So, you know, what was troubling me a lot was that, you know, what does an ACA want? And what are the stages of recovery? Very quickly, the big book says, the big red book says that the 3 stages are we risk moving out of isolation, which is the first step of recovery. Otherwise, we are living in a prison and a sanctuary, and we are suspended between our needs and fear, between fight or flight, between agonizing in our isolation and wanting to connect with the outside world. And yet, you know, our denial was our first step because it helped us to survive. And it helps us to mourn our grief, you know, do the mourning. So how can we help newcomers move out of isolation? And the answer comes a little later in my sharing. The second stage is return of feelings, you know. I would hide all my feelings under the carpet. Because feeling was too painful. And I was also very fascinated by, you know, there was a morbid fascination of my past. And I'm sure it was connected to my inner drugstore. And all my PTSD, stress disorder was there. And the final stage was reparenting ourselves. Moving out of isolation and a dangerous environment to a safe environment, feeling comfortable and reparenting ourselves with loving care. There is a very well-known phrase which is used in meetings for newcomers, which I loved, and it is, "We will love you till you learn to love yourself." And this is what I heard when I first came into ACA. I was incapable of loving myself. And over different stages, we need different inputs. So when I came into Global a year ago, my life changed because I got introduced to wonderful new literature, pamphlets, workshops, step meetings, which I started sharing in my group. And in the last 2 months that we have been doing Zoom meetings, we have had the great fortune to connect with some culturally closer people, closer to home, Indians living abroad, who have offered their services for sponsorship as well as for being fellow travelers, you know, a gentleman and a lady. And that has brought new energy in our Zoom meetings. And by the way, after this pandemic started and the Zoom meeting started, the participation has gone up by 4 to 5 times. So that is one of the indirect benefits of being able to sit at home and come into a meeting. You know, I'm here in this convention only because I could just sit at home and connect on my computer. So these cultural ties basically means that, you know, when I come into the room, how can I be helped to stop looking at my differences and start looking at my similarities with the people? And what are these similarities that we have? It is the 14 traits of the laundry list, you know, and everything about the disease. All the other stuff is different. So when Global started happening and I started attending the monthly phone calls and connecting with people, new bridges were being built. And I must say that 10 days or 2 weeks ago, I spoke to Sean, who's in our panel in Taiwan, and it was such a pleasure. I felt so good speaking to an ACA member in Taiwan, you know, and similarly with all the rest of you. So we need more of this connection. We need these connections because I want to be helped to move out of isolation. I want our members to be helped to feel safe and comfortable so that they can start talking, trusting, and feeling. And you know, lastly, I don't know how much time I have, but
just about a minute, Sunil, and then
okay,
we're going to go to Satish. We're going to do a few, and then we'll open it up for a question.
Okay. So, you know, I need unconditional acceptance. I need unconditional love. I need the workshops. I need the step meetings. I need the laundry list meetings. And there is no better way than the wonderful Global group to which I am now connected, and I'm connecting my group. There are 3 participants from India in this convention online. And my last sentence is going to be from a music, from a song by an American singer, where it talks about, you know, I need you to accept me before I can accept myself. And it's a beautiful song, which some of you will know. And it says, I don't believe in magic. but I do believe in you. When you say you believe in me, there's so much magic I can do. And that is the spirit of ACA. Thank you for listening.
And thank you so much. And we're going to do a few speakers and then we'll open it up for a question. Our next speaker is Satish. So Satish, go ahead.
Thank you, everyone. So I am nervous, so sweaty hands, and but I know I'm among a family that loves me unconditionally. And I know that I've got the higher power. And so the inner child is, so he's really proud of me for standing up for him. This is when I was 11 years old. And so I do reassure the inner child that we are okay. We are going to be fine. We'll make it. And we are among family that cares about us. So I did write some of the notes. This is the first time I'm speaking in this type of format. So again, I would like to thank everyone here, the ACA WSO Global Subcommittee, Global ACA Without Borders, and all the love and support I've received from being part of this committee over the last year. So I think I'll just start. I made some notes here. So my name is Satish. I'm a grateful adult child. And so I grew up, I was born in India to a family. I was the second youngest of 6 siblings. And my parents got married when they were 18, 19. By the time they were 29, they had 6 kids, poverty. So my dad had to start work when he was 13 years old. And mom was the only child. Her mom was a rageaholic. So I have had a chance to talk to my mom about her childhood. And so I think being like as far as I could remember, I always thought that I didn't really matter. I was less important. I had the younger brother, for some reason, he could get things he wanted. And I never even raised any concern or asked my parents to buy things for me. Because for some reason I thought I was less important. I thought I don't have to have these things. So again, I think a lot of these things I didn't know. So my role has been the lost child. And I lived my life like that. I'm 50 years old. And so from, I think grade 1, I remember one incident when my parents were teaching me how to read. And I think it was some sort of spelling in Punjabi. I was saying something like it was woman or lady. And I remember the whole family was bursting in laughter. So that was, I think, one of the times I felt ashamed. Again, I'm not blaming them, but I do remember that incident. So from grade 1 to 5, I was just, kind of going through school. Nobody knew who I was. And grade 6 to 10 is when I went to high school. And the neighborhood kids sort of scared me, saying, oh, the teachers are really strict. So the fear of authority figures came into play there. So from grade 6, I don't know what got into me. I just became, I think it was the driving force now I see was the fear. And I didn't want to be punished by these authority figures. So my dad was one and the teachers were the other authority figure. So from grade 6 to 10, I was in books. So I spent a lot of time there because again, perfectionism, then overachieving sort of came into play. And I wanted to be the best because approval seeking and people pleasing, I think, was also kind of developing. And then I think for some reason also my parents will say, oh, why don't you play outside? I said, oh, I have to do work. So I think I see, in a way, I was dissociating. I didn't want to see what was going on at home. And the overachieving also, I think I was getting hooked on the internal drugstore. Again, now I'm able to put all these pieces together. So through high school, obviously the teachers knew that he was able to accomplish something. So I go to college, again, another authority figure and mentor who I connected with He was instrumental in me being here now where I'm at. But again, I put him in a position of authority. I could never stand up to him. So at age 17, I was in medical school. Age 23, I was done medical school. I still had this, I think internal, I thought it was internal fire, but now I think it was a lot of, it was just that I was unsettled from inside. I wanted to do more. I think some of it was, again, my addiction to inner drugstore. And also, I think, again, I could see now that a lot of it was the shame, the toxic shame. That wasn't really mine. It was the shame of the family I was carrying along. I thought if I could do something, maybe the shame, again, I didn't know at the time, the shame could be lifted. So I'm, again, not satisfied that even having done medical school, I practiced there for a couple of years. Then I connect with another adult child, a wounded soul. I think she could be labeled as a narcissist, but I think she's an adult child. I relate to all the regular laundry list traits, and she was on the other side. And I marry her and come to Canada because I want to do more. I want to reach higher. And then after landing in Canada, within a week, I start studying. On day 8, I was still sitting at home for the next 10 months. So 8 to 10 hour day for the whole year. And I, again, being an overachiever, so I matched into residency position in the US, Connecticut, New York area. So during this time, my workaholism, addiction to excitement and chaos, and this dysfunctional relationship and 2 children, like I was juggling all that. On top of that, I was doing some extra work in the hospital to send money home, like the codependence. It's just nuts. And the one thing I realized was I was totally out of touch with my feelings and with my body. So during that training period, I had a bleeding ulcer. I didn't stop until I fainted in the washroom. And later on, it was diagnosed that it was the ulcer. And then that was one of the bottom, but I didn't wake up. I still kept going. So then 2001, I was near the New York City area. Then September 11th happened. So I decided, I think that I feel higher power has been in my life all along when I look back and even now. And so at that time, I was debating of either staying in the US or moving back to Canada because I had the Canadian immigration. So that incident, September 11th, helped me in a way to decide that I ended up moving back to Canada. So I come here in 2002. I'm 32 years of age, 2 kids, really, messed up relationship. I was 50% responsible for that. And then so once I got here, I thought, like, I was shocked to see, it seemed like I have really won the world, accomplished everything, accomplished more than I ever wanted. So by this time, I'm certified to practice in India and North America. I still am today. And then I feel empty, lost, confused. I don't know what's wrong. I think that was one of the bottom that hit. And because one thing I realized was, as I was on this path from age 15 or even before until 32, I spent 17 years of my life being overachiever, workaholic. And then I don't know who I am. And then, so I kept going through. I think as, again, higher power was instrumental in my life. So by this time I have, I realized, so this community that I live in.
Just a second, there's some scratchy sounds in the background. I'm not sure if there's any papers.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, I don't hear it now, but it's been happening periodically, so just thought I'd let you know.
Thank you.
And yeah, and I know you're mindful of the time as well, so just keep going and finish up. Yeah, thank you. And so it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So then, so by, now I think I have to fast forward. And so I, go through that process. And then about 3 years ago is when I had the real bottom. So where my, the family unit has fallen apart. The kids, they're now by this time, 18, 19, they're sick of this dysfunction. They moved out. And then I don't know what to do. I talked to somebody, they said, go to Al-Anon. I go to the Al-Anon meeting and I have this gift of desperation. So I have been there in that meeting since. And then after a couple of weeks being in the meeting, somebody, after hearing me share, suggested that have you heard of ACA? I said, no. So she helped me. I got on the in the rooms, the online meetings. And then 6 months later, I started a meeting here. So we went to a third year face-to-face meeting. It's called Prince George ACA Travelers. So with this, in the community that I live in, so I've had a good relationship with our other 12-step fellowships, especially Al-Anon. So they've been really supportive. I'm grateful to have a fellow, like my sponsor who's done ACA and Al-Anon. So I've been doing the steps for the last 2.5 years. And then I've been to 2 world conventions. I went to the Toronto one in 2018. And so that was quite an eye-opener, experience to see people from other cultures and other countries, like how connected I felt with them. Then last year, my daughter, who was 22 at that time, she wanted to go with me to Sweden. And we did go to Sweden. That's where I met Sue. And then so I've been part of this subcommittee, global subcommittee. So, so I think, the main thing I've seen here is that, again, I think, so I see that this fellowship and this program is coming into all my affairs. So my family and all the relationships, I have ended, a few toxic relationships which were unhealthy. And I didn't realize that I was hanging on to those relationships because I had fear of abandonment. And then, so I think now I'm doing more self-care. So that picture is one of the things my inner child wanted to do, painting forever. So finally, a couple of months ago, I've started taking painting lessons. So this is the most self-care I've ever done. So if there are any newcomers, so please keep coming back. I think for me to be speaking like this, it wouldn't have happened unless it wasn't for ACA. So I'm grateful. So I think that's my time. Okay, thank you. I'll pass it there.
And thank you, Satish, so much. And it's just been beautiful working with both you and Sunil between India and Canada, and all of the wonderful connections between the 2 countries. I'm going to move next to Anju. And Anju, did you want to speak for 5-8 minutes? And can you unmute yourself?
Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. And go ahead.
Hi, I'm Anju, and I am from India, but I'm just living in LA, California. And so I have an identical twin sister, and we both got adopted from India at 8 months old and brought here. And both of us had, have a lot of issues with the adoption. We both have severe abandonment. We have a lot of trauma, and ACA has just been amazing for me. Ever since after that, I grew up, I came here, I lived in California, and ever since, visited outside, visited India, of course. Don't know my birth parents. I just recently came up to find out that my birth mom passed away, and my birth dad, didn't want us because of God only knows, financial reasons, I don't know. But whatever it was a closed adoption. And we both have been living here in a narcissistic family dynamic, which I am a golden child, my sister's a scapegoat, and I never knew about this. I never knew about ACA. I went through a lot of trauma, childhood trauma. I've been raped. I've had so many things happen to me, and I've been in narcissistic abusive relationships. I've been out of them. My father is a narcissist. My mother's a codependent. My twin sister and I live in a family dysfunction. And when I came to know about ACA, 5 months before I came to ACA, I joined Codependence Anonymous. It was an amazing program that brought me to ACA. And actually, I've done inner child work with my therapist. My therapist told me, oh, all the stuff that I'm hearing, you need, it's all in the ACA book too. Actually, it's funny enough, I actually figured this out. Um, since I'm adopted, all the stuff, there's a chapter in there that actually talks about separating, and Renee Spritz, I think it is, his name. And I was reading about that. That's exactly what my therapist said. And then she told me, you got to do inner child healing. And she started doing this healing on me. And I was like, wow, this is really powerful. I didn't know it works like this. And then it's weird. She never told me about ACA, but eventually I came to find out by watching a YouTube video. And that actually helped me figure out. And I jumped into that. My sister was like, let's go, let's do this ACA thing. I knew how painful it was because a week or two prior, my therapist had done inner child healing with me, and I was very hesitant to go back to that pain. I was trying to find every way to escape that pain, but I knew that I had to feel it to heal it. And the moment I started going along with ACA, and I met another therapist along the way, and she started working the steps with me, oh, I fell in love. And it has just been an amazing program. This has just been wonderful, and I'm so glad to be a part of the ACA global members group and all that on WhatsApp. I get so happy whenever I talk about this, and the reason why is thanks to my dear friend Satish here. He invited me and told me about this group, and we actually met over a phone conversation on on aca.org, the phone meetings. And if it wasn't for this coronavirus, I wouldn't have met a wonderful friend who had brought me to this. And it's just been great. It's just been an amazing thing for me to figure out that I'm in this, and I can, there's hope and there's help. And that's just been amazing for me. And I'm so grateful for meeting them. And I hope in India they open more meetings. I'm so down. I would totally go. I want my family to join me. I love this kind of stuff, and I love this meeting dearly. I come for all the meetings. I go to all ACA meetings. The first time, I just remember when I first started ACA, I couldn't even walk in the room because it was so difficult for me to understand. But then now look at me, 2 years into the program, and I'm loving it. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, Anju, so much for sharing. And we're going to move over to Sean. I'm going to just do a few let's look at the speakers, and then we'll open it up for questions after that. But Anju, thank you so much. And Sean, you're on next. And Sean is from Taiwan.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sean. I'm an adult child of an alcoholic. And well, I'd just like to say that grateful doesn't even really describe it. It's really an unbelievable experience to participate in the ABC the last 2 days, and then the previous 2 days, and this conference as well. It's just amazing to be, in the ABC. I was on a phone call with 120 people, and then yesterday I think we were on a call where there was almost 1,000 people. It was really just amazing feeling to be connected with so many of you guys, so many of us. There's so many of us worldwide that need this. And just before 45 minutes ago, I guess it was about an hour ago now, hour and 15 minutes ago, before the start of this meeting, I started thinking about, I've been thinking about what I'm going to talk about, but I've learned over the years in recovery, I don't want to script anything. I just want to share from the heart. And so I try not to write anything down and just come with ideas. But I was getting, of course, I'm getting nervous, and some things were coming up for me. And I've been attending a lot of these meetings during the conference. And something that came up for me earlier today in a speaker meeting was somebody said something that really poked deep into my core. And it was unexpected. It was out of the blue, and it was right before this meeting started, and it really stirred up some pain in me. And it was this idea that my dad resented my very existence, and I never saw it that way. I never could see it that way. I've always been holding out hope that he still loves me, and he says he does, and one day he's going to validate me. He's going to say he's proud of me, and I'm going to be able to wash away all the verbal and physical abuse that I took as a kid. But it really hit me today that that day is not going to happen. Like, I've been in this program now for 6 years, and it's finally hitting me at a deep level that I can let that go. But I had a good cry about it, and it really got me, it really hit me hard. And so I reached out, something I've been really doing a lot more lately. I reached out to my ACA fellow traveler and talked about it, and it was the best thing I could have done. It's something I'm not good at. I don't pick up the phone very well and reach out, but it was the best thing I could have done. All it took was, you know, sharing it, letting somebody else hear it who understands, and then a little bit of validation back from him. That's just my critical parent. That's just me trying to beat the hell out of myself. And basically what it was doing was, you don't need to show up at this meeting. You don't need to speak. You just need to run away and do what you've always done, because you're useless. And just by reaching out before this meeting, it really helped me get centered again and get refocused. So anyway, with that, I'll try to, how much time do I have, Sue?
Well, you have another 4 or 5 minutes, so, or even more. So just keep going.
All right, I'll try to make it condensed. I do have, my sponsor did suggest jotting down some bullet points, so I did that.
You're just
so
thrilled.
Kind of brief. Sorry, go ahead.
We're just thrilled to have you. Keep going.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm really grateful to be here. Can't express my gratitude enough for everybody's service. One last thing I wanted to say about the ABC before I go on. We are really, I guess, the perfectionism in my home group here is, we have really healthy business meetings. We've used the Robert's Rules of Order right from the get-go, and everybody loves our business meetings, the people that stay. And this ABC it really felt like our business meetings. It just felt so well run, and so everybody had a chance to be heard. People weren't speaking over each other. People weren't barking at each other. It was just amazing for 2 days to just have all this business discussed and taken care of, and all the love that was in the room, and patience and tolerance and kindness, all those great things that I don't experience in my other programs so much, in my other fellowships. So really grateful for that. So for me, a little brief, I guess, qualifier on why I'm here, why I'm an ACA. Sorry about that. That's born in Tennessee, moved to Hawaii, Guam, Florida, grew up in Florida. My dad was in the Navy, so that was kind of the way our family dynamic was by the Navy way, the Navy law, if you will. And the time before I moved to Florida, from the time I was born until I was 7 years old, I have mostly good memories. I have very few traumatic memories or memories of abuse or things like that. It probably happened, but I just don't have a lot of memory of it. By the time I was 7, we moved to change, and I didn't realize it until later on in my life. But my dad was a flight engineer, and he was grounded, and that's why we moved to Florida. He became a recruiter, and then he went to the hospital for 2 weeks for dehydration. And at the time, I was too young to know any better. I had no idea. And I found out later on, as I got older and put 2 and 2 together, that he was an alcoholic. I mean, he had a drinking problem, but he was checked into the Naval Hospital for 2 weeks for alcoholism, for detox from alcoholism. And I never knew that, never understood that. So that's when the memory really starts for me. It was a lot of physical and verbal abuse from my dad. I think he was really discontent that he wasn't allowed to fly anymore, and now he's stuck in an office recruiting people, and I think that resentment all came out at home. And so it was constantly being on the lookout for what's dad's mood today. What's he gonna, look at his vibe as soon as he walks in the door, and whether to go to your room and be quiet or to actually try to engage and have a conversation. But for the most part, it was just stay away, just avoid. I come from a long line of both sides of my family. One side, my dad's side of the family, is alcoholism and addiction mostly, and my mom's side of the family is the codependency and the Al-Anon side of it, and all of us, all of us are ACAs. My grandmother died before she was 60 of alcoholism. My uncle died before 60 of drug addiction and alcoholism and skin cancer that was not taken care of. My mom's side of the family, my grandfather had Parkinson's. My grandmother died of Alzheimer's. All three of my mom and her 2 sisters, all married alcoholics, divorced and remarried alcoholics. Their one younger brother died of emphysema and drug addiction. So it's pretty much rampant throughout my family. My brother he was the hero in the family. He became the workaholic, extremely successful in what he does. And I became the alcoholic and the drug addict, and anything and everything that I could get my hands on that would numb the pain, that would make me feel better, so I could so I wouldn't have to look at myself and be in my own skin. That's really
kind of from the time I was 14 until I got sober at 38, that's pretty much what my life was about, was just numb out the pain. I don't want to feel anything. I don't want to talk about anything. I don't want to be friends with anybody. It seemed like on the outside, I was a butterfly drinker, I called myself. So I was friends with everybody, but I was friends with nobody. I knew nothing about anybody, and nobody knew anything about me. And I was comfortable like that. So fast forward to one of the things that I heard from my dad. One of the strongest messages that I heard from my dad growing up, and it still sticks to me to this day with friends and with other relationships. And my dad used to say to me, after he would beat me and yell at me, he would say, "Get out of my sight." And I would go to my room in pain and cry, and not really knew, I kind of knew what I did to get the punishment, but had no tools, no solution, no way to stop doing what I was doing. And I find out later in therapy that it was really a sick way of getting my dad's attention, like keep getting in trouble and keep getting this attention from him, which was even scarier. And then my mom's message that I got from my mom was, if you hadn't done such and such a behavior, you wouldn't be getting punished right now. So my mom was kind of always the comforter to come behind after my dad would beat me and sort of make me feel okay. And I didn't realize this until I got later either, but that she was actually not really comforting me. She was just kind of reinforcing that I'd screwed up and I got what I deserved. And then I'll sort of hold you in this moment while you're in pain. So at 14 years old, I found alcohol, and I found marijuana and cigarettes, and I started, at that age, you start becoming interested in the opposite sex. So it was off to the races, full-blown addiction right from the get-go. And I'm not going to talk about my addiction story because that's 22 years worth of it, and I don't have time for that. But I think you get the point that where I come from and the way I functioned until I finally did reach out for help at 38 years old to get sober. It was a complete lost identity. I was the lost child as a kid and a scapegoat, and I lived that way my entire life, and still some to this day. So at 38 years old, my wife basically gave me an ultimatum, said, you either do something about your drinking or we're done. And I'm in Taiwan at the time, as I am now, and we have a kid that's 4 years old at the time. I don't have permanent residency, so if this ultimatum comes true, then I'm basically deported. My life's over, start all over again. So I got desperate and said, okay, I'll get help. And I couldn't get sober. I stayed sober for 6 days and drank again, came home and drank again for another 2 months. And in that 2 months, climbed up to the edge of the balcony of my 7th floor apartment and was ready to jump and didn't have the courage to do it. I looked my wife in the eyes, and the way I remember it, my wife, the look that my wife gave me was, what are you waiting for? There was no distress. There was no stop, don't do it. It was more like, go hurry up and get this over with. But I couldn't do it. And so of course that added to my shame and guilt and what a coward, you can't even kill yourself. So, but what it did do is it brought me to my knees, and I got the willingness to actually get sober. And I did. I went back to the treatment center, got sober, and haven't had a drink since. And that was in 2009. So 3.5 years into the AA program, I'm having real problems with relationships within AA because of the alcoholic ego, mine included, and butting heads with people. And so I went, my sponsor suggested I might go to Al-Anon. So I went to Al-Anon, helped start a meeting here, and a face-to-face meeting, and we had a workbook. We're doing the steps, and I'm in the middle of step 4, and like really starting to have better relationships. And then a woman comes into the meeting with a yellow workbook, the ACA yellow workbook. And she said that ACA was actually her main program, but there was no meetings here. So she came to Al-Anon. And my ears perked up, because when I was in the treatment center to get sober from alcohol, the counselor there had told me, once you get sober for a year in AA, come back and talk to me about ACA, because what you've shared in your story, you belong there. And I forgot about it. So 3.5 years into it, I met this woman, saw the laundry list, and I'm not sure if I cried or not, but I was definitely moved. I had this feeling that, holy shit, somebody knows me. Somebody just wrote and articulated everything I've been feeling on this page in front of me. And I think there was only the last 2 that I decided that I don't identify with those, because it said we became, we forgot the exact wording, but something like we acted like the alcoholic, the para-alcoholics. And I'm like, no, I'm an alcoholic, so that doesn't qualify. And I realized later on that before I even touched alcohol, I was already taking on the behaviors of the alcoholic. So all 14 of them rang true for me. So me and this woman start a meeting. We start an ACA meeting face to face, and it's just the two of us. Nobody's showing up. And then we decided, because we live so far apart, how about if we do this on Skype? And we actually started a Skype meeting and registered it with ACA. And that's a whole nother story in itself, which I'm super grateful for. ACA really helped us. They send us a meeting starter kit basically for free. The big red book, the yellow workbook, strengthening my recovery, bunch of pamphlets, welcome chips, like all kinds of great stuff for free, and got our meeting started. And our meeting is still running today after 6 years. So eternally grateful for ACA for the help that they've given us. Sponsorship is one thing I wanted to mention before I finish. I had a real hard time finding a sponsor that fit, finding a fellow traveler that we both fit together. And the first person I tried to work with was a woman who reached out to me and sort of looked at me as kind of like a big brother figure, and, oh, you've got more ACA experience, let's work together. We started working together, and I could see that I was kind of approaching it from the AA sponsorship, like I'm better than you, or I know more than you, so you need to listen to me. And it wasn't working. I said, all right, how about we read the chapter in the big red book about sponsorship? So we read, and I don't think we read the whole thing, but we read up to a certain point where it started talking about equal footing, and about so that we don't have authority figures or people pleasing. And so we tried that, and it worked for about a week, and things were going very, very good. And then it started to shift again, and then the woman started to become like this motherly figure over me, and I saw it, and it started to work. So we read the rest of the chapter and got to the part where it talks about why men and women should not be working together, or maybe that's not the right wording, but the word was confusion. It creates confusion, and it just all sunk right in. Yeah, there's a lot of confusion going on right now. It wasn't that there was any sexual attraction or any romantic intrigue or anything. It was just, we just didn't belong working together, working the steps together. And we both realized it, and we left peacefully. So I had another sponsor after that, a man. The next three sponsors were all men. The next one, we started working together, and I shared some stuff that was, I think it was really triggering. It was too much for him, and he said he wasn't able to process it. We couldn't work together anymore. The next fellow was a really great guy. We were starting to do the work together, and then suddenly he disappeared. And that was kind of, as you can imagine, as an ACA being terrified of abandonment, that was kind of shocking. But one thing he did say to me while we were working together, I'd experienced the loss of a relationship in ACA, and he said something to me that, you know, we come into each other's lives, and we come on our spiritual paths together, some of them for a day, some of them for an hour, some of them for a year, some of them for a lifetime. And we just need to cherish the time that we have together and let God handle the rest. And it really helped me let go of that relationship. And then not long after that, he did the very same thing. So I was like, oh, maybe he was trying to let me know ahead of time. But whatever the case, I have a sponsor now who is in the same three programs that I'm in, AA, SLA, and ACA. He's got a lot of experience. He's loving, he's compassionate. I just spoke to him before this call today, and it was the best phone call I could have ever made before coming on here to talk. So I'm really we're working step 5 in the yellow workbook right now. I'm really excited about my recovery again. It's always been a slow process for me. Like I said, I've been in ACA for 6 years now, and I'm just now on step 5. I did the first 3 steps probably 5 times with different sponsors, 4 or 5 times. So what it's like now for me is the 2 promises that I love the most out of the ACA Big Red Book are Promise 7, which my previous sponsor, Charlie, when he used to read at the end of the meeting, this is for you, Charlie, in case you're here with us, he would say, 7, we will learn how to play and have fun in our lives. And he would just light the meeting up when he would say that. So I love that one. And that's something I really have learned in ACA, is how to play and have fun in my life, but not with addiction. Because what I used to think was playing and having fun was all addiction. And now I can actually have healthy, fun things in my life today. Disc golf. If anybody doesn't know about disc golf, look it up. It's worth it. It's definitely an inner child sport that I'm loving. My other favorite promise is, with help from our ACA support group, number 11, with help from our ACA support group, we will slowly release our dysfunctional behaviors. And that has been true since the very beginning, since I first came into ACA and started reaching out to ACA WSO and getting help with literature. I just felt that little bits of support here and there, just little phone calls, little text messages to people in the program who are seeking recovery, can release our dysfunctional behaviors. Because, 15, 20 minutes before this call started, I was a mess. I was in a bad place. It was all that dysfunction coming back and all that you're useless, you're not worthy, get out of here, run, go hide, give this time to somebody else, you don't belong here. And it was just madness. It was just straight madness. But I needed to feel it because then it helped me to pick the phone up and call somebody and talk about it and get support. And then I was right back in where I'm supposed to be, praying and meditating before the meeting instead of letting my critical parent have its way with me. So with that, I think I've probably gone over my time. I really appreciate everyone listening, giving me this chance to share. I think I forgot to mention how our online meetings, I think I did mention a little bit. Our online meetings started here, like I said, 6 years ago. It's called the ACA Formosan Group. We meet on Sunday nights at 10 o'clock Taiwan time, which is 10 a.m. Eastern time. And just look for us on Skype. Send us a message to ACA Formosan Group. We'd love to have you. And with that, I will pass. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sean, so much. And it's been very interesting when we were all talking together and the connections between Sean and Satish and Sunil. And Sean's been so wonderful because we're trying to find the right time to chat. And 10 a.m. Eastern time is what we've been doing with the monthly meetings, and that's 10 p.m. in Taiwan. And so, Sean, thank you so much for hanging in. And we're going to continue to look for good times where we can all connect. I'm looking at our time, and we're doing wonderful. I'm going to just do one more share with someone for just 2 minutes or 3 minutes, because it's a connection with this part of the world. And I'll end with Sean actually volunteered to do some public outreach to the Philippines because you were traveling there, and things happened and we couldn't get the materials there. But you're going to be going back next year. And with that, I'm going to ask Sarah O to unmute, because Sarah O has an interesting story about going to South Korea. I don't think Chris was able to make it, but Sarah, if you can unmute and maybe 2-3 minutes or more, just have a chat about your journey with South Korea.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Sarah O, calling in from New Jersey. Set my timer. So I'll keep this brief and just focus on the journey and the service that I had the pleasure and honor of doing. I had the opportunity to travel to South Korea from Newark Airport, and there weren't going to be any ACA meetings there. I looked for them long before I planned my trip. I found a couple of other 12-step fellowships, open meetings I could go to, and connected with Sue V and with David as well, and just opened myself up to the service, because I knew if I was going to travel across the world, that particular service would get my butt into a room and set the spiritual tone for my trip that I needed so that I could remain emotionally sober while I was out there. So I got all these trifolds mailed over to my apartment, newcomers booklets, and put together a list of offices I might be able to visit, 12-step meetings I might be able to go to. And I didn't overdo it. The whole time I was encouraged to respect my boundaries and my self-care and only do what I could do. And no matter what I could do, it was going to be good enough. So I kept that with me, jet-lagged in Seoul, South Korea, and I just let my higher power guide me, and ended up dropping off trifolds and newcomer booklets in a couple of churches, a couple of therapists' offices, and one meeting that was open in another fellowship. And I'll wrap up with that. I made friends in that meeting, And we went and had fellowship after the meeting. And they were impressed. They were like, how are you so awake right now? You should be jet lagged. And here I am right now, awake past 3 a.m. And I'm just impressed when my higher power gives me the strength and the courage. I get to do service from a space of love and carry the message. So I made friends and we had fellowship. I got to share my story, my ACA story, with a couple of folks there. And they were really grateful to hear there's another program that they might identify with and that it's not Al-Anon. And looking forward to see what those seeds planted turn out to be. And I'm just really grateful to see all my friends, grateful for all the shares tonight. And thanks for the opportunity to let me speak briefly. Thank you.
And thank you, Sarah, so much, and for your offer to carry the message of ACA to South Korea when you were traveling and going out there. And you know what? The higher power is always with us, because it was shortly after that that Chris connected with us, synchronicity, higher power, and said, hey, we're starting an ACA meeting face-to-face, and we're doing it in Korean. We don't have Korean literature, but we're going to translate and have this ACA meeting at the same time. Talk about building an airplane and flying it at the same time, you betcha. And so that was just a wonderful higher power moment. So thank you, Sarah, for all your service and for helping us so much in Global 2. I'm going to ask lastly, and not leastly, Joe to speak for 2 minutes, and then we'll open it up for a couple of questions. Go ahead.
Yes, hi, this is Joe Delchild. I joined the global members because I have an interest in people who are moving from one culture to the next, from one country to the next. Many of our stories do involve travel and motion from one culture to the next. And just like we are invited to separate from our families of origin, which I have done, and then reconnected with them, it's really helpful to, when you move from one culture to the next, that you separate from some of that trauma in the past, and yet it comes with us. And so I'm really interested in the global membership, because no matter where we go in the world, there is a need for ACA. And that's because everywhere in the world, there are children that are not getting their needs met. So it turns out that if you go from one culture to the next, you bring that baggage plus a cultural bias with you that might add even more separation and isolation. So it turns out that not only do we want to move into a global fellowship, but we also want to make sure that no matter where you go, there are places to talk about the trauma that you came from and the trauma that you experience as an immigrant, or if you're second generation in the new country, it's called onward migrant. You may be moving from relative financial insecurity towards financial security, and that creates issues as well. So as we try to break this generational disease that we have, it's really helpful to look back and say, wow, well, my parents were both survivors of World War II, or my parents were both subject to the famine in such and such a country. And that is a source of trauma that surrounds the family as well. So in my case, it's obvious I'm African American, and we're still, African Americans in America are still dealing with generational trauma from moving from one culture to the other. And then being onward migrants from one socioeconomic status to the next. It's a really fertile area for work, and it's true whatever culture you're moving from and to. So this is where I decided to place my service and my time, my talents, because this is a global need. And so people who are interested in the Global Fellowship will find a home no matter where you go. And that's what I like about it the best. So thanks for a moment to share a little bit. And I'm so glad for Sue V and Charlie and the leadership for getting this organized in such a short period of time. Join our Slack channel. Look throughout the websites for both ACA and WSO. And there's a wealth of help and service opportunities for us there. So thanks very much for the opportunity, Sue.
Thank you, Joe. And wonderful. So I'm going to ask for people to raise their hands as I'm talking. If you have a question for any of the panelists, we're going to spend the next few minutes to do that. And I'm going to let Stephen lead us in this. Stephen? And when you are sharing, please keep it to 1 minute or less. Thank you.
I'm scrolling up now.
Alrighty, and as you're...
So our first member is Corinne, I think.
Go ahead, thank you. And just let us know who your question is for.
Okay, I guess my question would be for the lady that spoke about doing lots of service because she knew she was traveling globally and wanted to kind of anchor herself in her own recovery while being of service in the fellowship to others. And I just, I'm in a similar situation, I guess. I'm on a work holiday visa in Australia, trying to find ways to be of service and probably have overdone it. And so yeah, I heard someone else mention as well, world service, like this sort of global fellowship. So I just wanted to make some sort of contact or be put in the right direction of where I can find kind of help with all of that.
Alrighty, so Sarah O was the one that was talking about public outreach. So I'll let Sarah just respond to that for a moment. And any of the questions that anybody has, Corinne, if you email global members at Adult Children, we'll make sure we connect you to the right people. But Sarah, go ahead.
Okay, hi Corinne, great to hear you. Great question. I can relate to doing too much in service. I've learned the hard way to do less. But if you reach out to us via email and perhaps join our committee, get added to our WhatsApp group, it's a very supportive group. You've heard us all here, and we can hold your hand and guide you through and have our higher powers connect with your higher power and try to get you to keep coming back and continue to do service in a way that's manageable.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. And one of the things we're always saying on Global with Service is only do the service that's calling your heart, and do it with balance and a lot of self-care. So thank you for your question, great one.
Okay, Sue, our next member is Trudy.
Trudy, go ahead and let us know if you, I can direct you to the right panelists, but if you know, go ahead.
Hi, the last speaker, Joe, I think, interests me the most because, I don't know, I really connected with him on the cultural traumas and the intergenerational trauma. And my story quickly is that I was born in 1958 in Germany. The two parents that raised me were both educated in the Hitler Youth. And I've been the lost child for all the last 20 years. I wandered over to England, first of all, where I carried, I think, the shame of my nation. And then afterwards, for the last 20 years, I'm living here in West Cork in Ireland. I don't find that I deal with any racism over here at all anymore. But I would love to explore the intergenerational stuff more, because I know that my parents did the best they could with what they were taught themselves. But it was just not good enough. It just traumatized me. So what Joe was saying about, yeah, the intergenerational and the national and the, you know, the immigrant trauma and stuff like that really connected with me. And I'm wondering, is there some way that I could maybe start helping there? Having said that now, I've only been an ACA member really in this program for the last, since the coronavirus struck, because I can't get to physical meetings anyway. It's the Zoom meetings that I'm going to in this moment of time. And interestingly, my biggest support is actually the Berlin, the German group in this moment of time. So that is a new thing for me altogether. And that is a healing thing for me altogether as well. And with that, I can stop now. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Trudy, so much. And that's all the time we have for the official sharing in the meeting. So I would like us to move on, and if you can hang on after, if Stephen allows us, and I'm sure he will allow us for a couple of minutes just to finish off any shares. And as I've said, we're going to continue this conversation. This is only the beginning of many. We're not going anywhere. So thank you all panelists, thank you attendees. I wish we had more time for the interaction, but we'll again do a little bit at the end. Stephen, can you bring the PowerPoint back up, and we'll bring the official closing soon. And moving on. Okay, so just before that, you go back for just a second. We've been doing this a lot on the chat. You see the Global Members Subcommittee. I'm not going to spend any more time. There's our contact information. WNWSO is for we, the ACA world, together we're stronger. You have it, and it'll be in your chat again. Next. Announcements. 7th tradition states every ACA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. We ask that you consider making a 7th contribution, and I won't bother reading all the websites there. They'll be in your chat. You'll be able to look at it. I also want to let everyone know that our next AWC session is going to be at 4 a.m. Eastern time, so in a half an hour from now, and Spain. So please join us. We're going to Spain. This is the ACA World Tour, virtual tour this weekend. Thank you. And that will be posted in chat as well. Moving on from that, I've asked Joe to read the ACA promises. Joe, take it away.
Thanks. These are the ACA promises. Number 1, we will discover our real identities by loving and accepting ourselves. 2, our self-esteem will increase as we give ourselves approval on a daily basis. 3, fear of authority figures and the need to people please will leave us. 4, our ability to share intimacy will grow inside us. 5, as we face our abandonment issues, we will be attracted by strengths and become more tolerant of weaknesses. 6, we will enjoy feeling stable, peaceful, and financially secure. 7, we will learn how to love, to play and have fun in our lives. We will choose to love people who can love and be responsible for themselves. 9, healthy boundaries and limits will become easier for us to set. 10, fear of failure and success will leave us as we intuitively make healthier choices. 11, with the help of our ACA support group, we will slowly release our dysfunctional behaviors. And 12, gradually, with our higher power's help, we will learn to expect the best and get it.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone, merci beaucoup, that shared today and was of service to make this Global ACA World Convention come together. I've We have Charlie on the line, but I think Charlie's going to hang in with us. So once we've done, I'll get him to say a word. But right now, let's move to Sean. And Sean, do you want to lead us in the ACA Serenity Prayer in the traditional Chinese? And we'll get Sean to do that. And then we'll open up the, if we can, we'll open up the thing to say the ACA Serenity Prayer again. Go ahead. Sean, lead us in.
All right. We'll do.大家好。Serenity Prayer， 上苍更大力量，请自我安宁的心境，接受我不能改变的人，请自我勇气，改变我能改变的人，并自我智慧。了解那个人就是我，谢谢。
Thank you, Sean. And let's all take a deep breath. And I'm not sure if we can unmute everybody, but let's take a deep breath and say the ACA Serenity Prayer in whatever language, in whatever way is best for you. Breath. ACA Serenity Prayer.
Grant me the serenity.
Grant me
the serenity to accept
上苍请自我安宁的心境，受我不能改变的事，
courage to change the one I
请
can,
自我勇气， 改变我能改变的人，
know that one is
请
me.
自我智慧，
Coming back.
了解那个人就是我。
Thank you so much for your service.
Thank you so
Wow.
much.
Thank you, everybody. Great
Thank
job,
you.
Sue.
Great job. And panelists, hang in. Charlie, did you want to say a minute? We only have a couple of minutes, but do you want
Sure.
to say, and if we have one or two questions, if we have time, we'll take them. Go ahead, Charlie.
Oh, sure. I just want to say it's getting closer to 4 o'clock for those of us here from the Eastern time zone. This has been one of the most amazing days I've spent in recovery. I've been in for 34 years. It's changed my life, but I feel like my life has been changing by the hour, every time I hear people share. So, Sue, thank you very much for the wonderful thing you've been doing over the last year, pulling this together. All the different panelists, Sunil, Sean, Anju, Joe, and Sarah. It's just been a great gift to all of us. So thank you. And for me, good night, good morning, good afternoon, and goodbye.
Okay, thank you, Charlie. And we'll just take one or two quick questions because we will have to close off for the next one. Stephen, do we have anybody?
We do. We have Susan.
Okay, go ahead, Susan.
Hi, this is Susan C. from San Diego. A special hello to Suvi and congratulations to you and your committee on doing a marvelous job. I am so inspired. I'm just totally taken away. And I have two questions. One is, you have mentioned going on Slack. Is there any special invitation that has to be given out for a person to access Slack?
We just need your email. We just need your email, Susan. And is it the same email? Because I have yours.
Yes, it is the same.
I will send you a Slack. I will send you a Slack invite so that you.
Great.
Okay, and your next question?
The next question was if you could just briefly tell some of the things that you need people to do on your committee, or opportunities for service.
Yes, so if you email globalmembers@adultchildren.org, we'll send you some of it. We're also going to be posting, all of the committees are posting volunteer opportunities, but we're looking, Susan, for people who can be sponsors and fellow travelers, especially around the STEP studies and the laundry list studies. A lot of our emerging countries are just starting to get into the Ready, Set, Go, to getting into the STEP studies. And so there isn't the ACA recovery nearby that they can connect with easily. We're looking for international speakers in some of our ACA meetings. And we're also looking for writers because we'll be looking at doing a lot of different publications that we'll be sending off to the literature committee. Hang on, Charlie, in the months and the years ahead. So there's a whole bunch of things that can be done. We're going to be posting it on the website. We can email you with more details. Just let us know. And it's such a pleasure connecting with you, Susan C. Again, you were so helpful when I was the co-chair for 2018. My undying gratitude.
My pleasure.
Thank you. All righty, and one more maybe. Yeah.
Yes, hello, my name is Bente and I'm from Norway. Thank you so much for letting me in. I just want to thank you all for the great job you're doing, and we are not so big in Norway, but we are starting slowly and slowly, and it's very nice when we can connect this way. That was all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for doing the reach out. Much appreciated, and waving back to Norway. Alrighty, that's all the time that we really have. We need to clear out for the next wonderful workshop that's coming in with Spain. So we'll see you around, and have a wonderful evening, morning, and afternoon wherever you may be. Take care now, everybody. Bye-bye.